Welcome back everybody to Poolie MagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted Nufc fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. Wow. Well, I was not expecting that result. I really wasn't. So let's get a deep dive into this episode tonight. This is the PSG Newcastle United review. I'm just going to, go straight into the video, give my thoughts and my instant reaction. I'm going to go a little bit play by play and a little bit of just my thoughts and how I feel after that game. So, anyway, I thought that, before the match, I was absolutely devastated with the lineup. I think like most Newcastle fans were, I was thinking, what the hell's going on here? But, I've been wrong before and I was wrong again. Did not inspire confidence though. I thought Big Nick up front on his own, Alanga, he looked alright coming off the bench. Joe Willock, I thought, oh God. But, and I was right to have them feelings. The first minute, Lewis Mardy, who hasn't really put a foot wrong this season, gets skinned up Barcola. Wasn't a penalty in a month of Sundays. It hits off Barcola's arm. It deflects onto Lewis Mardy's arm and it gets a penalty. But the way he and Sam was Barcola just tore past him straight away. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a long night for the young lad, this. It really is. But Nick Pope comes to the rescue and Newcastle start getting into a bit of a shape. Every pass we made just seemed to hit off Voltemade. And I was thinking, this lad's got no confidence. And I felt sorry for him for the first 20, 25 minutes. Nothing was really going right for him. Our passing was woeful. And it was one of them matches that if I didn't support Newcastle, I'd have switched off. Because I just thought, this is just going to be a trouncing now. And they go 1-0 up. And it's a great shot from Vitinha. And I just think, here we go. Here we go. And it was one of them where I'm thinking, even though I do support Newcastle, do I switch it off? Because it wasn't because we were getting battered or anything. It was just like, I just didn't see a way back into the game. And that was frustrating. I just didn't see how we were getting back into the game. But Kvaratskhelia goes off. Slowly but surely, Lewis Hall starts putting a foot in. Malik Chow starts putting a foot in. Sven Botman starts putting a foot in. The midfield start coming back a little bit more. Lewis Mardy stands a yard off Barcola, realises I can't run side by side with this guy, so I'm going to stand front on and I'm going to make him beat me. And he put in a few great slide tackles, knocked Barcola's confidence a little bit, raised his confidence. He started striding forward a lot more. Tonali looked. There was a bit in the game where Zaire and Emery just go boom. Went straight past him. Tonali's running with the ball. Zaire Emery just puts the afterburners on. And I thought, oh God. But Tonali grew into the game and all. He's put out a lot of fires. And my dad was right when he said that. And he was putting out a lot of fires and he was working hard and he was running his socks off. Some of his passing was still a little bit off. He was passing us into trouble a lot. But I hate it when we fart about in our box, like with Prime Barcelona. Absolutely hate it. Because it just puts us under so much pressure. Don't get me wrong, come off a couple of times, it looks great, and then you can break. And I thought Dan Burn looked really slow in the first half. But, for the first 20, 25 minutes, but, started to get up to the Nick Voltemade. Nick started to chest it, started to stick to his feet, he started to turn, he started to look. He started to pass the ball. You can see he went from to that. His shoulders dropped, his head risen. He started to look more confident. And as the game progressed, he got more and more confident. He was coming for the ball. He was heading. He was knocking it on. He was leading the line well. We still don't get enough runners going behind him, but he looked well. There was a couple of times in that match where he held the ball up great and passed it off and we had a shot. And we seemed to shoot a little bit more today, which was really good. I thought Alanga looked sharp, but his passing and some of his end product isn't great. But what he did do, he scared them a little bit with his pace. And he was like a bzz, bzz. He was like a wasp, wasn't he? He was like a bee. He was just all over the shop, and that's what you need. Joe Willock, best performance I've seen from Joe Willock in a very, very long time, about three years. We were just coming into the game. And I watched it with my mum, and I just thought, I said, this isn't a bad game, this now. I said, we're looking a lot better. And then we get a free kick. It's about 45th minute, I think. Get a free kick just into their half. Tonali lobs a lovely ball in. A lovely header from Sven. Lovely header from, it's like head tennis. Lovely header from Dan Burn. And Joe Willock, finally, we've got a midfielder running into the box. Bang, heads it 1-0. 1-all, sorry. Their goalkeeper, by the way, was fucking dreadful. And I wish we took more shots at them. But we go into half-time 1-all, and I thought for the last 15, 20 minutes of that half, we were just slowly but surely getting into the game, and we were starting to rough them up in the right way, starting to get in their face, we were starting to read their game, and they weren't as quick as what they used to be, PSG. They weren't as like boom, 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 and before you know it, it's in the back of your net. The couple of times they did do that, they looked really good, but they just didn't, for some reason, they only did it about 5 or 6 times the whole match. And we got into shape all the time. Chow and Botman were fantastic. And we just looked like we were figuring them out. It looked like a boxer who took 2 or 3 rounds and maybe took a knockdown in the first round, but, you know, it started to figure his opponent out. Started to just palm him off with the jab. That's what it felt like. It felt like a boxing match that we took their best and sort of realised, I can handle that. I'm going to come forward now. If that's all you've got, I'm going to come forward now. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a bit of a boxing match. It felt like we'd done a bit of a rope-a-dope. We took their best shot and realised, you know what, we've been knocked down, but we haven't been knocked out here. You know, and carrying on with the boxing analogy, I might as well. You know, we just kept going at them and we kept throwing that jab and we got our just rewards with a big right hook, which was Joe Willock's header. And it was fantastic. And we go in 1-all, and I'm thinking, what's Eddie going to say here? Because he doesn't fill me full of confidence with his half-time team dogs. When we come out the second half and it's boom, we strike back at it. And they looked shocked. They weren't expecting this. They weren't expecting, I don't think they were expecting that team to be playing, because I certainly wasn't. And 2, I don't think they were expecting that team to be playing well. And that team that looked like they just didn't have a clue how to play with each other started to find its rhythm. Big Nick, like I keep saying, really held that line well. He really did, and he held balls up in tight situations. Don't get me wrong, not every pass he made was great. Not every touch he had was great, but I thought overall he was class tonight. And that's the Big Nick we need. If we're going to isolate him up front, he needs to be strong like that, and he really was. And then you're just thinking, right, okay, get Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon on. And these are tiring. Don't get me wrong, they were having quite a bit of the ball, but they were tiring, and it just felt like Barnes and Gordon could really make a difference in this game with their pace, the fact that they've got 11 goals between them this season in the Champions League. And it was sort of, let's just oof the ball up to Gordon, but in a good way. And we did. Gordon was electric, and he was electric. And he was just great. And his back heel to Barnes, and Barnes, you'd have put your house on it. Barnes is probably our best finisher, and you'd have put your house on it. And the goalkeeper, for the first and only good thing he did all match was save that shot. And then it comes to Barnes again, and I know the flag went up, but apparently it wouldn't have been offside if it went in, and it just skims off his leg and goes into the side net, and you think, Christ almighty, how are you, man? Wissa comes on, ran about a bit, did some alright moments. Thought Jacob Ramsey, although he had a few lapse passes, I thought he played really well. Nick Pope didn't really put a foot wrong. Lewis always class again. Lewis Marley grew into that game like a proper man. He did. He read the game well. He thought, I can't cope with his pace, but can he cope with my physicality? So I'm going to step a yard off him and see if he can cope with my physicality. And I thought Lewis Marley was fantastic tonight. And then he was bombing up. Just lacks. I wish he was a yard quicker, because I think he'd be fucking one of the top talents in Europe if he just was that yard quicker. But didn't put a foot wrong after the first 10 minutes. Pardon me. But I thought, what a moral victory that was, to go away from home. I know we've got to play the playoffs and that, and it's 2 games that we don't need. But to go away from home against the European champions and to put up in a performance like that, it's got to make you proud of that team. Well done to Eddie Howe and all. If you'd have read my messages an hour and a half ago, or 2 hours ago or whatever, you'd have think, honest to God, I was thinking, what is this guy doing? But proved me wrong, and it was just a great away performance. It's a shame that performance wasn't enough to take us into the top 8, but I just think, wow, what a Champions League we've had. been ups and downs, and to go away from home against PSG and Leverkusen and not get beat, you can't fault that really. And to still be in the playoffs is fantastic. So yeah, brilliant game. I thought it wasn't like a brilliant game as in a Leeds game. It was just you're going away to the European champions and you're outfighting them and at times outclassing them a little bit, outthinking them, outsmarting them, not letting them play their game. Brilliant performance, one of the best performances of the season by a country mile. It's a shame we couldn't get that killer blow, going back to the boxing analogy. Shame we couldn't, boom, knock them spark out. But, you know, that way, no matter what happened, I was proud of that performance. And the fact that we come away with a draw, playing the way we did, with the team that we started, and the players who come on made a difference. The players who started have got to be proud of themselves. Can only bode well for our away game against Liverpool. Got to start, maybe he's not the same team, but he's got to start with the same formation, I'd say. But I'm just really proud, and I didn't expect to be coming on to do a video like this tonight. I was always going to do a video tonight, but I was expecting to be my usual whinge and moany self. But I've got nothing to whinge about there. I thought we were great tonight, and yeah, long may it continue. Hopefully we do the same at Anfield, and then if we play like that against Liverpool, I know the big Carabao 6-0 tonight, but if we play like that against Liverpool, maybe we've got a good chance of winning. So anyway, I'd rate the performance and solid 9.5 out of 10 away from home against the Champions League holders. I'd rate Eddie Howe 9.5 out of 10. Brilliant performance. His best managerial performance of the season for me. Is by far his best managerial performance of the season. And it seemed like we were changing things up in game, which I haven't seen this season. Kudos to Eddie Howe. And my man of the match was Nick Voltemade. Anyway, hit like, comment down below if you agree, disagree. Feel free to comment, share the channel, hit like, hit subscribe. And like I always say, keep it black and white and keep it Poolie MagTV. Over and out, folks.